double doors of life. Things are changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gas up the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when it is time. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. One star, would not recommend that we go far from here. I wanna get off, I wanna get off.
A music podcast for the culture. Wild, wild thoughts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to our Thanksgiving holiday episode of Wild Thoughts. We thought we was going to get a break today. We was going to take a little holiday break, and then your boy Kendrick Lamar just dropped bombs like Hiroshima. So, of course, we got hit up by some people like, y'all got to go on and talk about this. But before we get into that, I had a chance to listen to Ice Cube's album all the way through.
Oh, wow. Forgot about that.
Before we get into Kendrick's album, I had a chance to sit down. You know, I'm not going to say the album isn't bad. I think if you're an Ice Cube fan, it's a good Ice Cube record.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think he relied too heavily on his like latest flow, which is the dun 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 dun. You know what I'm saying? Like almost every song depended on that flow. When I feel like Cube has other flows that are a little more intricate, a little better, and I don't think he like went into really none of those. You know, like the I Get Wicked flow, even the We Be Clubbing flow. You know what I mean?
Unless he just made this whole album just a for fun album.
Well, and you know what, Lil Ray, you might be right, because it feels like he just was really having fun. Yeah. This is the most lighthearted Ice Cube album I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said on the last show, it feel like more like the actor Ice Cube than the gangster rapper Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? Like this felt like a different brand of Ice Cube. This was the I'm an actor, I'm a brand version of Ice Cube, not the, you know, he don't have as much to say on the political side. He don't have much to say. You know what I mean? Like he's not connected to the streets no more, so I wouldn't really expect him to make street records. You know what I mean? But I just feel like, I don't know, it like Lil Red said, it felt like he was just really, really trying to have fun, but it ended up feeling just a little lackluster. Like I was waiting for like a little more of the Cube edge.
Right.
Just a little more of the edge.
Would you say, because I haven't listened to the album, but I saw the video, and the video to me felt like a condensed Friday spinoff in a way? Would you say
I see what you're saying.
He was too much in a character as opposed to being an MC?
You know what? Kinda. I mean, I think he was like, I don't want to say lazy because I don't think he was being lazy. Because like some of the beats he picked, like you could tell there was thought into it. Like the very first song, like Lil Red said, he was like, Ice Cube got his old flow, but it's a young beat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to reconcile, right? Because it's like dope. The beat is crazy dope. And Ice Cube actually don't sound bad on the first record. It's just, I know he probably could have did better. I feel like he didn't have, like, you know how he said he don't like to do records with Drake because Drake make him work. He said that. I feel like he needs somebody that will push him. You know what I mean? I think he probably was in the studio and whatever verse he laid down, they was like, that's cool. All right, cool. You know what I mean? I don't think nobody was in there producing him like, nah, bro. Go ahead, V-Ray.
Yeah, he played it real safe, man.
Well, I think I again, I didn't listen to the album, so this is strictly, you know, I'm on the ledge with this as I'm saying it. But I think with all the brushback that he got from his political stance and whatnot, him speaking his mind or speaking like street CNN, I don't know if it would have been accepted as opposed to going in and just being lighthearted. That's the only thing in which I can say.
No, I just feel like V-Ray said, I think he just played a little too safe. I understand playing it safe, you know, where
Right.
he is right now in his career. Like, I get it. But I feel like he played just a little too safe.
Too safe. Okay.
Like I said, it's not like the music is bad, because the music isn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like the music is bad. It's not like he's trash. It's just like, I know Cube, because Cube is like always one of the few times. I'm one of the few people who put Cube in my top 5 of MCs because of the America's Most run, because of the, you know, Death Certificate, Kill at Will, you know, those, because of that body of work. And I didn't hear any of that at all.
Right.
In this work, I'll say that. Like, even like you feel like you would hear like remnants of The Edge, and there was none. You know what I mean? Not in my opinion.
Did he have any standout tracks or songs?
I think the Ego record is a standout record, and I think that's why that was a single.
Then my next question is: do you think that perhaps?
Yeah, but like I was saying last week, the intro song isn't typically the strongest joint, right? It usually is an indication that there's more heat to come. But if that's as hot as the album gets, and I'm a huge Cube fan, excuse me, but I think that it fell sharp. But I think, like you said, Dame, that at this point in his career, when America's Most and Death Certificate and all that shit came out, he was closer to having just departed the rough, you know, fuck everybody, a bitch is a bitch, you know what I'm saying, era. And now fast forward, 20, 30 years and shit, he's further from that and closer to the corporate end. If one end of the spectrum is thugged out shit and the other end is motherfucking corporate shit, he's closer to that now than he is to where he departed from. So you can hear that. Because remember, he used to say all that outlandish shit about Jews and Jerry Heller and all that shit, you know? He wouldn't dare say that shit now, you know. And with another Friday in the chamber and shit like that, because these are people that he has business relationships with now, not just Jews. But I'm just saying that as an example to say that he's got a lot more to lose. And there's a cancel culture now that didn't exist back then.
Yeah, so a lot of things he probably would have said, he probably didn't say, like you said, Ray. And I think, you know, like we can lend some of that to maturity. We can lend some of that to being a bigger brand than he was back then. Because, you know, Boys in the Hood, Ice Cube ain't Are We There Yet, Ice Cube, just to keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it a buck. Like he is really a big money-making entity in that world, in that realm. So, you know, I wouldn't risk losing that over trying to sound edgy on an album.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
He's way less.
But again, I like to stress. I don't.
Are we there yet?
Yeah, I don't think it was really. I'm not saying it was trash. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it was trash. It wasn't the Cube that I'm used to. You know what I mean? But you know, overall, like I said, if you're a Cube fan, you'll probably like the album. You just be like, I'm glad Cube is back with some new music. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of the consensus I've been seeing from people who are Cube fans on the internet. Like, I'm just glad Cube back with a rap album. I don't think he made nothing groundbreaking, but I do think he pissed Kendrick off a little bit. And we'll, you know, what do you think the point of dropping the album was? Honestly, Shannon, I think when you make music, no matter how good you are at all the other things, there's a piece of you that always want to make music. And he probably just really wanted to make some music, you know, like because you could tell it's not like he needed to make music for money. He needed to make music for the cloud. I really think as an artist, sometimes he just like, I got to get this off. Like there's some things I want to get off. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I think he made the album. I think as an artist, he just really wanted to get in the booth and make some music. I think that's what happened. That's what it feels like.
Still touring too, you know.
Yeah, he does shows all the time. He does live shows all the time. And he's always like, because Cube would drop just like not an album, but he'll drop like a single all the time. You know what I mean? Like Cube would drop just like a single, go out tour with all of his legacy stuff, and then new single, you know, or in between movies, or like, you know, because people forget that he just had the Mount Westmore album last year, which I thought that album was actually pretty damn good. Like that album had way more edge than this. Like you listen to that Mount Westmore album, and maybe it's because he was with Short and E40 and Snoop, that it had that edge, you know what I mean? Like that album, which only came out maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, if that, still felt like a Cube album. His verses on there felt like Cube verses. The flow was a little different, and that's why I say I feel like on that album though they was pushing each other. I feel like on this album he didn't have nobody telling him like, "Oh, you can come a little harder than that." Just you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like he didn't have that on this album.
Right.
But he made one of his songs. I think it was Ego when he said I was Kendrick before Kendrick, and I think that kind of pissed Kendrick off because I heard something, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. One of the songs he said, "Old," what did he say? Old rappers, something like old rappers with these same old ass flows, trying to convince me that he's the favorite or something like that.
Yeah,
and I feel like that was a little jab at Cube. I could be wrong. I don't want to start no mess.
But didn't the album come out before? No. Didn't Cube song?
The album came out the same day, but Cube's song came out about a month or 2 months ago.
That interview, though, it was an interview.
Oh, it was an interview. He said it too. Yeah, he said it in an interview too. Because DLC came back and rebutted. He said, maybe with what you were saying, you felt like you was Kendrick. He said, but them cadences, the flow, I was Kendrick before Kendrick, which I actually agree with. Because DLC was way ahead of his time. Like DLC was corrupt before corrupt in regards to like a West Coast. Yeah, a West Coast artist having a flow that was not like You know, he was one of the first West Coast MCs to kind of have that non-stop flow. I was listening to Cube's. Man, I was listening to Cube's, not Cube's, DOC's The Formula album. Like I was like, yeah, yeah. I was like, yo, bro was really getting it. Bro was going off, like, and it holds up. Yeah.
To this day.
It holds up. It holds up. It holds up. That was like he. I mean, because you know he helped write a lot of the Chronic. His pen is always ill, but him as an MC, like you know,
I wonder how much writing he did on Doggy Style.
He did a lot.
He did a lot of it.
He did. I know because I know he helped with G Thing. He was talking about he helped with G Thing almost all of the Chronic.
Yep, I know that part.
Shannon said, "You're right, Dame. I thought it was a jab too, and possibly one at the game too." Oh, right. You're right. I think it was at the game too, Shannon. That's a good call. I think it might have been at the game as well.
And Game has
been saying slick stuff too.
Well,
like
he's been super quiet lately.
Oh, because I'm sure Game feel out in the cold right now.
Of course.
Because you see, even Snoop had to come back, and Snoop was trying not to take sides. And Snoop was like, I was tripping. You the king of the West Coast, period.
Like, it was the edibles.
It was the edibles. Like, I was tripping. Like, you the king. Yeah, because, like, you look crazy. How are you the biggest artist in the West Coast, and you trying not to choose sides
right
in this battle? Because I'm sure Drake probably a homeboy, but you can't get away with that.
Is Drake really a homeboy, or is Drake just an opportunist? And
Snoop is like the mayor of Everyville. Right?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like
he's the DeMont of hip hop and shit.
Yeah,
yeah. But the thing is, it's like it's funny that we had this conversation. I'm really starting to look at Game and Drake as the same. They're just opportunists.
Well, Game has been like a.
That nigga been the West Coast boogeyman for a couple years.
I don't want to say like a poser, but I'm saying like he's been like. I feel like Game has been putting more on who he is for a very long time. More on what he meant to
agree. I completely agree.
You know what I mean? Like he's like putting more on what he meant to the. Like you had a cool run, but you wasn't like impactful as Kendrick. You wasn't like you wasn't a change agent. You wasn't a game changer because a lot of it was you was able to ride. You came on the heels, and I liked Game when he first dropped. But you came on the heels of 50 Cent. Like you got the G Unit coattail ride, and you got the 50 Cent records that were good records, but you could tell they were supposed to be 50 Cent records.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not like you came out and you bought your own sound and you changed the West Coast and bought I didn't feel like that. It felt like you had a really great run, some really great albums.
And the nigga got saved by Drake.
Yeah, and Drake saved him.
Drake saved him.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care what anybody say. Drake saved his ass.
Yeah.
If he was going to keep going on his own after that 100 miles of running shit, they would have been ass.
Well, because Game had been signed Aftermath for years before 50 giving them records.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, Mars. They were looking for records for Game. They kept saying, "It's a dude named Game. He's dope. He's like a East Coast MC with a West Coast vibe." That was like the way they were saying it, and they was always asking us for tracks for him. I remember, and he had worked with everybody before 50 Cent gave him the records. Like they had Game in the studio with everybody. So, yeah, man.
I think for games, like I do remember the early stuff. I didn't necessarily take him seriously with the Doctor's Advocate, the early stuff. The only album from Game that I like, truthfully, was 1992.
Really?
That's the only album.
I like this first 3 albums.
To me, like for a West Coast artist, it sounded too like East Coast for me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you know what it was? So, and I think this was like a blessing and a curse for Game. Game is a chameleon. Whoever he's on a record with is who he sounds like. When he did a record with Kanye, he had like a Kanye flow. Right. When he did the record with 50, it's like a 50 flow. When he's on a record with Dre, it's like he's a chameleon like that. Like whoever he's on a record with, he does a damn good job kind of like turning into them, kind of like morphing into what they are, which I think is what made the album good, because every feature, it sounded like a kind of a cohesive record, with whoever he was featured with.
But you want some usage as something that's very monumental. He doesn't have his own unique sound.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I think it's like, tough for him to put himself where he does on that level. But like I said, by no means am I saying Game is not dope, because I think Game is actually dope. I think his first 3 albums were really dope. But I think Game kind of got lost in like, look at me too. And then made him change the way he moved. Like, like saying little stuff like, you didn't have to inject yourself into the Drake Kendrick saying like, well, Drake my homeboy. So you didn't have to say that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and he didn't have, and then he tried to fabricate a similar beef with Rick Ross. I'm gonna drop songs too.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and it feels very contrived, and it makes him look like a little corny. Honestly, like that whole rollout he did, it was a little bit corny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, what up, Charles? Charles Wainwright, man. I knew this boy since kindergarten, Charles, first grade. Charles Wainwright. All right, so let's get into Grand National. Let's get into Kendrick's mixtape, which I don't think people realize is really a mixtape. Give me your thoughts, Mars, off the top of your head. Give me your thoughts.
I love that shit. I love that shit. From the first time, which I've been listening to nothing but that album. Every time I listen to it, it gets better and better and better. And I know we're going to get to a point of what are our favorite songs on it, but it's flawless. I know people have quote unquote said, the 3 sounding West Coast songs or whatnot, it's not to their forte. Those songs are great. I love the fact that he has shined light on Lefty Gunplay. I didn't know the history of Kendrick and Lefty Gunplay, but I now realized that he was on cartoons and cereal, and I still want that fucking song. But love the album. Can't say anything negative about it.
What about you, V-Ray?
Well, let me strap on my bulletproof vest before I start talking this shit. But I love Kendrick in general. I love the body of work. I even liked Not Like Us for a long time till it wasn't charming after fucking the millionth play and shit. But the new record, I think it has some joints on it that I really like. Like I think like the first 5, I think the sequencing of it really spoke to me, because if the old days put the hot records first and then put the records in the middle and shit, and then end with some heat. It was exactly that. I think like the first 5 were cool. Then the ending, the last joint with SZA was cool. But I think that he outwrote those tracks. I think some of those tracks aren't worthy of his flow, his spit. You know what I'm saying?
He outwrote those tracks.
Yeah, and also I think it's too much mustard on the motherfucker, man. I mean, I like mustard shit in spoonful.
Sir,
I don't think that the
sir,
album needed to be overloaded
sir,
with mustard tracks. But
sir,
that's just me from a personal
sir,
music taste standpoint, because I'm more
sir,
instrumentation and it don't have to be like a fucking composition, but just a sub, some claps, and a little them watery ass the way that the synth sound. I'm not like that. Nigga, don't give me 4 or 5 of them joints, because I'm like, which one is which? And then Kendrick's flow is in there. And then what really pisses me off, and I'm not even from California originally, is attributing this nigga sound to that's the new West Coast sound. I've been hearing a lot of people say that. It's like, nigga, that's not really the West Coast sound. Is being identified as West Coast because Kendrick's on it. Hey, this nigga could be on fucking Mary Had a Little Lamb, and they could be like, oh shit, he just redefined the West Coast because it's Kendrick, but not because those tracks are just so fucking phenomenal that everybody got to get one. And the mustard may be sought after like shit after Not Like Us, but I think and gonna be imitated like a motherfucker after Not Like Us. But I think that is just not really like tried and true production to me. So I think that Kendrick just outdid those tracks, and it's like these motherfuckers ain't even worthy of what he's saying in a few of those songs. And I get track list, I can get down to the track list if I have to, but just in general, my response, and I listened to the whole album through twice, like back to back immediately, and I was like, and especially compared to the other projects and shit, it's like, it maybe makes more sense if it's a mixtape, like you said. If it's considered an album in the true sense of the word, nah. The mixtape, maybe, you know.
You, sir, are what I call a hater.
No, I love Kendrick.
Okay, sir.
He can do no wrong lyrically. You know.
First things first.
Let me make one more point, then I'm going to shut the fuck up. The other thing is that I think that Kendrick's content and previously has been more. It's always been hood shit, but it's been more message worthy and shit like that. And so now this nigga's just like degraded to like dissing other MCs and shit like that. Like, nigga, that ain't even your forte. You like motherfucking Martin Luther King getting down and claiming Crip hood and shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You like you promoted yourself and make the album
I now have to question whether or not you listen to the album.
Other niggas and shit. It's like, that ain't even you, bro. You the motherfucking torchbearer. You ain't like, I piss on your grave. That ain't your lyric content. Like, nigga, like. So that's my shit in a nutshell. Fire away.
So number one, I have to correct you. The correct pronunciation for mustard needs a little more volume and a little more pulling out of. Exactly. So
I feel like that's the only way you can say his name now.
Yeah, right. Even at McDonald's and shit.
Right. Did you miss over the reincarnation where he was actually having a conversation and taking the place of as Lucifer? Did you just completely miss that message and conversation?
Well, here's what I'll say. I don't think he did anything wrong lyrically, except, like I said, the battle, choosing battle rap over like some of his historical messaging and shit. But lyrically, dude can't do no wrong. The shit's clever as a motherfucker. The double, triple entendre shit, and the songs where he abandoned that, just said straight up, I ain't fucking throwing hints. Here's what I mean. Kind of shit. All that shit's pure genius. I have no problem with any of that. So I didn't miss some of the things. It's just I just thought that it was beneath. Some of the tracks weren't up to his quality level lyrically.
I was gonna say, like, because even though it feels mustard heavy, if you really go through the track list,
it wasn't.
It does have a
it's
lot
only
of
10 songs. At least like 5 of them are, right?
2.
Let me see.
Majority,
either it's 2 or some other producers were trying to like give a mustard vibe.
No, majority of the song was Jack Antonoff and Soundwave.
Yeah, it's only 3: Squabble Up, Hey Now, and TV Off.
Well, some of that the other production, I think, was shooting for.
Because Whacked Out Murals is a to me a quintessential Kendrick joint. Luther, the Luther Vandross, the Kendrick and SZA, that joint, Man at the Garden, which sounds like One Mic reincarnated, which
awesome.
is like a Tupac record. Dodger Blue sounds West Coast LA. Peekaboo doesn't Peekaboo. That's not a. Let's listen. Let me turn it on real quick. Oh yeah, that's a West Coast joint. Like you got a mustard kind of feel, but I feel like it got a little. It's production wise a little more. Then Hard Part 6, which is the Use Your Eyes. That's and GNX is the only skip for me on the album. That song, I love what they saying, but I hate that track. I hate the track on GNX. That's the only skip for me, music wise. But when I listen to what they saying, I'm like, they killing lyrically. But I don't like that track. And then he ends with Gloria when he talking about his pen. So I think he has actually V-Ray. I think he has more not Mustard records on here, but the Mustard records are so heavy in the culture. Because, like, I don't know if y'all saw, like, the Inglewood girls basketball team already went viral to the Mustard, to the break on TV off. Like, a bunch of people went viral already. The TV off record, it took off already.
Yeah. When he does that song with a band at the Super Bowl, that shit.
But I'm saying, I also think those Mustard records that he did, I think he's kind of trying to find a suitable replacement for Not Like Us in regards to something that he could do publicly.
That's another thing I didn't visit on is what I felt like was a corporatization of the record by trying to like match a previous record. That's some old school shit. Like make another one that sounds like this kind of shit. I don't know that anybody pressured him to do that. I'm just saying, the fact that you try to reincarnate that vibe and like, you know, try to align the planets again when you don't have to, motherfucker. You're Kendrick. Like,
honestly, I don't think that's what he was doing. I think it was that's what Mustard tracks sound like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I think that's what Mustard tracks sound like, and the marriage of him and Mustard tracks are probably gonna feel like that no matter what, right? Because Mustard tracks, he's had tracks like that on other artists, and they haven't had that impact and they haven't had that feeling. But the combination of somebody, because like a lot of times Mustard will have tracks like that, but what people rapping about be super frivolous on it. It ain't nothing deep, you know what I mean? But with Kendrick, actually, like even when you listen to TV Off, he's saying something. When you listen in the Hey Now, he's saying something. Squabble Up, he's saying something. You know what I mean? So like right. So the combination of Kendrick on Mustard tracks, it brings a different thing. But because those are basically how Mustard tracks are, they gonna sound kind of like that, Not Like Us, no matter what, when it's the combination of them two. But I think
so. That begs the question: is he the West Coast standard then? If it depends on who's rapping on the motherfucker, they're like, I don't know. Anyway, I don't like Mustard. Clearly, he was cool in the moment. He's like a one night stand and shit. Are you cool? But I don't have to. You know, we don't have to do this again.
Did he do Squabble Up?
Huh?
Did Mustard do Squabble Up? Because I love that record.
Squabble Up is dope. Like I said, there's some shit on there that I really, really like. The first 5, to me, I don't know who produced what or whatever, because I think I was mobile when I was listening to it, so I ain't got no backstory on who did what. But those first 5 and that last joint.
Soundwave did Squabble Up
for album for most albums, but I just feel like this is Kendrick. If I gotta learn to like it, then you know what I'm saying. I'm looking at it differently than anything else that I've heard from him. Was almost immediately, you know, embrace, no skip, blah blah. From whatever producer, be it what's the name? The bass player dude that produced was it Mad City?
Oh, you talking about Terrace Martin?
No, what's the boy's name? The bass player,
Thundercat.
Yeah, Thundercat. Yeah, I don't know
Thundercat, Terrace, and Kamasi. Yeah.
So I mean, from any of those, it was like immediately that. But I think this production it gives me the mumble rap beats vibe.
Well, and I think that's what it is though. But I think he was showing like, because you know the biggest thing Drake always was saying, like, you can't get nobody in the club, you can't get nothing on the radio. That was like the biggest, I guess, dig. So I guess he was trying to show like I can make an album that's gonna get club, I can make an album that's gonna get radio and still be me. That's what I felt like when I heard the album. Like, because like I felt like he did, you know, because he already made his magnum opus of super musical with To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City. And then Damn was kind of a middle line of both. Damn had like some real musical stuff. Damn had some real sparse production and stuff. And I feel like this album, After the Battle, which again, I'm hearing from multiple people close to him, that there's another album coming that's probably going to be very different.
I heard that too.
So I think he was getting this vibe out the way because people wanted this vibe. Because when Squabble Up, you know, I remember when the video first dropped for Not Like Us, people were like, when we going to get Squabble Up? When we gonna get the whole song? We ain't know what but they was literally playing that little clip of Squabble Up in the crypto when the Lakers was playing. They was playing that football game. So I think it was organic that it took off that way. It was an organic manner in which that record took off. So now when the whole record comes out, everybody like, yo, and it feels, not only does it feel LA, it feels LA and Bay at the same time. Like this record feels very LA, very Bay Area at the same time. And it is, I know you don't like Mustard V-Ray, but that sound right now between Squabble Up and Hey Now and TV Up, that's what the kids love. Like when I DJ, those kind of records, those are the records and the kind of tracks that the kids are requesting, and they sending me like, can you make sure you play this? So that, like, it's probably not the West Coast sound to us old heads, but to now, that is the West Coast sound. That is the West Coast sound, like, because it ain't just him, it's 310 baby. It's the other guys that's on the Dodger Blue record with him. Like they records sound like that. So that kind of is like the new version of the West Coast sound. You know.
Well,
so,
to me that sound is like you could take Kendrick out of there and drop fucking the Lil Durk or one of them motherfuckers in there and it fits.
No, I disagree with that. No,
I disagree.
I'm just saying.
I disagree.
I disagree. It's cookie cutter, but I think it's
cookie
cookie cutter for West Coast. I don't think Lil Durk and any of them could get on it and it still feel like.
That may be a bad example, but what I'm saying is it sounds like that generation of rappers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And and I'm not on here to just bash Kendrick, but that and you know, making like a whole album of, well, not a whole album, but you know what I'm saying, the emphasis being on dissing other motherfucking rappers and all that kind of shit like that. It just kind of is another direction for dude. And he don't have to do it. You're already Kendrick Lamar, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like Superman trying to punk a motherfucking shit. Like, nigga, you are Superman. So everybody knows that you got a certain standard that you can rise to and shit. And yeah, you can diss the shit out of motherfuckers cleverly, but it's like, it's dissing the new messaging. But anyway, I'm done.
Yeah, and now I guess the album pissed Drake off so bad that he went full Karen, and now he's suing Universal Music because he said he felt like they backed Kendrick over him and was making impressions, you know.
What a bitch.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Shannon said I didn't hear that many disses. I thought it was him standing on business. I agree. Cause I thought I was gonna hear more disses actually.
The shots we were just talking about the possible shot of Cube, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like that. That's what I'm talking about.
But in all fairness, we've heard Kendrick do diss songs. We've heard Euphoria, we've heard Meet the Grams, we've heard his diss songs.
But also, hold on, before that though, too, V-Ray, he has a history of letting people feel it all the way going back to the Control verse. So it's not like this is new for him. Like he been calling people out, letting people have it since 2000. When did Control come out? 2013. Yeah, when he was like said he was better than Big Sean and Drake and like he been doing it his whole career. Even on King Kunta, you listen to King Kunta, which I think he's talking about Drake now in hindsight when you listen to the.
When you go back and listen to all those old songs he's talking about.
Yeah, but like he's been doing it, so I don't think this album was just a product of what was going on with Drake. I think this was him going a little more in depth about it because now he in that space. Kind of like once Cube got into the No Vaseline space and you listen to that album after that, it's not that he was dissing, but he was kind of like, I'm kind of unfuckwittable right now and anybody can get it. Like that's how I think once you get in that space.
Yeah, I think if anything, and again, this is my interpretation. I agree with you. I take it a little bit further. I think he's unapologetic himself, and he is aware of he's struggling with. Okay, I understand what it is that everybody wants me to be, but the reality of the situation is I'm a petty motherfucker that doesn't change.
You're making my argument for me.
But the thing about it was like he.
What up, Hank? Kendrick let the party down. Now it's being reincarnated.
Right, but the thing about it is like to me again, it's like it was a flawless album where he basically was himself.
Well, I do feel like he made this album with ease for sure. But like when you hear records like Man in the Garden that give you that one mic feel, the Reincarnated that give you that Tupac feel, and what he's talking about subject wise on that, I think those records and even Whacked Out Murals, to me, those records, the ones that I paid attention to, and Gloria, that shows how he's kind of like a little bit ahead of everybody else. Like he, you know how they say when you play like when you play sports, when you play professional sports, they say you in that zone where it feel like the game slows down for you. I think that's the space that Kendrick is in right now. I feel like he's in that space where the game is slowed down for him because when I heard that Man in the Garden record, and I love the one mic record, I was like, damn, this record might actually be better than one mic because just the way he laid it out, you know what I mean? And in the Gloria record where he's talking about his pen, but kind of like it's in a relationship, I thought that was brilliant. The way he did that, Whacked Out Murals, the way he brought that together, like, you know, and how he brought it together in the end, I thought that was dope. And even when he's doing the playful records, like, hey now, hey, like when you know he's just in the studio playing. I feel like in this record, in this album, I feel like you can see that the game is kind of slowed down for him.
But the thing is, in my opinion, the game has been slow for him since The Pimp a Butterfly. Because if you listen to the songs and you pick certain songs from Damn, Pimp a Butterfly, even Untitled, even from Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, these songs that he has written in GNX can actually be on either of those albums.
Well, so, not the Pimp. I don't think they could be on the Pimp a Butterfly. Well, maybe Gloria.
No, I'm not. I'm saying certain songs. You can pick certain songs, and they can be on each of these albums. So that's to say, to me, he has been in this zone since the conclusion of Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like even listening to his early works, like one of my favorite songs, Rigor Mortis, or Poor Man, when he was, when he was having a conversation back and forth. Was it Poor Man? Can't remember the exact name of it, but you can see some of those introspective things that were dating back to his early stuff.
I don't know. I think it's a part of his evolution as an artist. Like I think this record, because like you said, because Damn was good. Because like, look, it's not like he hasn't had commercial hits, at least one off every record. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I Love Myself, We Gonna Be All Right, even on The Pimp a Butterfly, which was like very, very musical, a Pulitzer Prize winning project. So he's always had hits, but I think he's like getting in that place where he's learning how to be a hit maker in regards to like how Drake is regarded as a hit maker. Does that make sense? It's hard to articulate because like I feel like on those other records were like not accidental hits, but he wasn't like, I'm doing this record to be a hit, right? But I feel like since Not Like Us, I feel like he feel like, oh, I know how to make those kind of records now. Does that make sense?
It does, but that's the thing that to me devolves to skirting formulaic. Not formulaic, don't get me wrong, but once you feel like you got insight on it and you start to make sure you include those elements kind of shit, that to me is like when you're not making music for yourself. That like any of those other records, We Gonna Be All Right, any of that shit just felt like, to me, and I could be way fucking wrong, so this is just my interpretation. those songs felt like they're just core songs, even like the Mr. I'm drawing a blank on the name. You just said the album that everybody was shitting on him about and shit, because he was talking about dealing with mental,
Mr. Morale, accept
yeah. So those records, I think, just to me, just feel like this is where I'm at. This is what I'm writing about and shit.
Oh.
It wasn't. We Gonna Be All Right became a hit, but I don't think that it was like, okay, I gotta make a radio record, or I gotta make the record that hits the streets, or like niggas gonna bounce to, or whatever the fuck. But now, like on the heels of Not Like Us, it feels like you saying, like the planets align, excuse me. But, and I really think it was more because of a diss record, than because of the fucking track. And maybe 60% lyrical and 40% track, maybe.
Okay,
but now that worked, it's like going hard in the paint to try to like lean into that and make these hit quote unquote records and shit like that. Just kind of makes me feel like, now you're going to repeat the process or whatever to try to attain repeat that success and shit. And I just think you don't have to, because you're Kendrick. You can fucking do anything. And really, I have no problem with the album, except I think the tracks could have been more diversified in the production and shit. That's my only, if there's a criticism of it. I think the album is genius. His writing is fucking off the charts as usual, but tracks,
I think I hear what you're saying, and I think what it is that I feel that there's not enough credit that's being given to Kendrick. From an early age, he has learned how to write hits just by the fact that he was working with Dre and the things in which they were doing. The fact that he has had commercial success in every step of his career, whether he was ghostwriting, whether he was a rapper, whether everything in which he's been doing, the soundtrack, he has had success, commercial success. To say that he has now figured out how to do such and such, it's almost like you're ignoring the fact that his past success, the reality.
No. I'm not ignoring it.
No, not you, Dane. I'm talking about what V-Ray is saying.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, Kendrick knows his audience, and Kendrick caters his music to his audience. I am one of his audience, as I've said, multiple times. Like, since this album has dropped, this is all I've been listening to. Every now and then I'll go back to Tyler, but then primarily it's back to Kendrick. And this is in my mind what I expect from a Kendrick. The second thing is, as far as like, I hate the narrative when people talk about Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers and the success or lack of success. That was an album that he wrote for himself and what it is that he was dealing with it. And in the release and the material of that album, it was a very mature album. And me personally, I don't think people are going to really appreciate that album years down the line when they're a little bit older and whatnot, and they can see, they revisit these things and these subject matters, and it's like, oh, okay, oh wait, okay, it's deeper. I think Mr. Morales probably is his second best album, and it's very hard for me to even put in rank like what his best album is. But that album is an outlier where he was speaking specifically for a mature audience when the time comes for them to jump into those mature subject matters. Damn, I see you shaking your head.
No. I think the biggest thing we're kind of missing too, because we have the luxury of talking about the record in this way.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the biggest thing we talked about when Not Like Us dropped? Is he gonna hit a brick after this? And we kind of take him for granted because he's been doing so. He didn't hit a brick after that big record. After Not Like Us, we were like, he got to come with a record that's not a flop. And I think he did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's no easy feat. Oh, can you get it? I think that's no easy feat, right? Like he came and gave us a record that's a good follow-up and I think it's gonna be a good bridge to whatever the next record is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we had the luxury talking about it now, but remember, we were saying like he can't have a brick. He can't have a brick after this. We're having a hit this big, and
Right.
he came with something that he didn't have a brick, and we're not talking about that. I think because the record is so good enough, it's so good, we get to kind of nitpick now.
Right.
But we forget before, if y'all go back to our shows when this all first happened in this first drop, we were talking about how like, oh man, he can't have a brick after this because then that's how Drake wins. Remember, V Ray said that's how Drake
Oh
wins.
yeah, I remember that.
After Not Like Us, he didn't have a brick. This record ain't a brick. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge part, a big thing to follow up the biggest record, literally the biggest record of the summer, to follow it up with something that kind of just kept that momentum going, where everybody is yelling mustard and making videos, dancing to that and squabble up, like because it's like he got basically it feels like he got 3 or 4 singles out right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So I'm gonna do a quick transition. Do you feel that this is the album of the year?
This album?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think Tyler Perry's album is album of the year.
Tyler Perry has
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry got an album?
Tyler the Creator.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. 100%.
Yeah. Painfully, I have to agree with it as well because I still view this as a mixtape.
Yeah. I think the Tyler the Creator album. The Tyler Creator album is like what V Ray's talking about, production wise and concept wise.
Yeah.
Through and through, you know, like it's that. I feel like this album was he's on the heater. He kind of can do no wrong. Let me jump on these joints real quick and drop something. That's what this record felt like.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's talking about stuff that happened a few weeks ago, which means it ain't like this a record that's been brewing for a long time like his other albums. This is like I'm on the heater. Let me go. You know what I'm saying? Let me drop something while I'm on this heater, and then before I do the Super Bowl album, the album that's going to drop before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And honestly, until you brought up the possibility or the fact or whatever that it's a mixtape versus an album, that really makes a difference in my interpretation of what was presented. You know what I'm saying? As a mixtape, that shit is a lot better than a certified album. You know what I'm saying? A premeditated record. So yeah, that makes a lot of difference to me. And comparing that and Tyler's, definitely you can hear the difference in the premeditation.
Yeah. So how bad a look is it that Kendrick got Drake calling the cops?
Very
How
bad.
bad is it that Kendrick got Drake filing lawsuits? I think to me this is like
I think Drake a pussy.
I think he's proven Kendrick's point in regard to not understanding the culture. He proven Kendrick's point in regards to like you not like us. To even do the petition, like it's just a bad look. And I think this is the way that Drake officially loses. Yeah. This is the way that he officially messes up his brand.
I'm gonna say one thing. One thing only. If this is not the most sensitive shit I've ever seen in my life of rap beef, period, and I'm only 29, so this is the most sensitive shit I've ever seen in my life. Out of all the rap beefs I've ever seen, yeah, this gotta be.
It's very, very light skinned behavior.
Yeah, there's some grown man against a little kid. Like you can tell.
Man, you can
and now they talk about, Lil Wayne feel dissed, so he might be trying to jump in it and get in the booth. But I feel like now it's even more Karen-ish because now I feel like you're going to get your big brother to try to deal with your problems.
Well, no, but he took a shot at Wayne specifically. Though.
You said what?
I took the lines that he said about the Super Bowl to be a shot at Wayne and the.
I didn't think it was a shot. I thought it was a shot. I don't think that was a shot. It wasn't a shot. It was literally like I idolize this dude. He said now the irony is me trying to work hard like him disappointed him. I don't think that was a shot.
Yeah, it's not a diss.
But to mention it at all and shit it's easily perceived as such. I mean, there's discussion about it right now.
I mean, there's discussion about, but I feel like anybody who has common sense would know that the way he said it, it didn't feel like a shot. It wasn't disrespectful. It was literally a statement about what Wayne said and what was going on. Like, I feel like he addressed what Wayne said.
Right.
Because especially we know how he dissed people. I don't if he wanted to diss him, he would have dissed him. Like knowing how Kendrick diss people
shit every once in a while. But my point is I'm making it is that it just sounds like it could be interpreted. Let me put it this way: it could have been interpreted that he was saying bro was in his feelings about the shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whether that's some bitch shit or not is up to the listener. But I'm just saying that the fact in this era of dissing motherfuckers and coming after other niggas on the album, possibly Cube, and all this shit to mention motherfucker by name, it's up to interpretation. But that's when I first heard it. Now I didn't see the lyric sheet and all that shit at first, but I've seen some lyric videos and shit capsulizing the lines and shit like that. But when I heard, I was like, damn, are you trying to say Wayne was like his reaction was untoward in some way in that?
V-Ray, if you're saying that I was a diss, then how come Snoop took it the way he did and didn't take it as a diss?
How does Snoop take it? What Snoop got to do with Lil Wayne shit?
No, I'm saying if that line also, there's a line where he also referenced Snoop. How is it that Snoop is not able to see it as a diss and understands where he's coming from?
Well, I think Wayne knows it's not a diss. I think Wayne just want to get in it.
Yeah, if anything to me, it's like he is pandering for attention. He feels a certain amount of way, and at the same time, you're surrounded by people that's telling you the wrong fucking thing. If people are telling you, you have literally witnessed what has happened. You have seen how this person has dissected and ended an individual. Dang, to your point again, going back, he has a history of willingly wanting to battle the best. You really think that your cracked out mind can actually go in there and put some shit against that little monster?
And I also think,
to be honest, Wayne is a fucking beast. So that battle would be more entertaining to me than fucking Drake.
No, I don't foresee it.
But I think Wayne 10 years ago would have been. I think Wayne now, where he is mentally, where he is, I don't think it would be Mike Tyson, Jake Paul.
I don't know. But anyway, so to answer the question about Snoop, I think Snoop's reaction is brand management more than anything else. He's in the same space that Ice Cube is. You know what I'm saying? So this motherfucker ain't gonna come out the box and say some off the wall shit. Plus, he is kind of in the twilight of his fucking rap shit. So what is he gonna do? Go in the studio and try to say something, or you know what I'm saying? Plus, he's a West Coast artist as well. He's had his time, so it wouldn't. That's not the same comparison as to a Lil Wayne type of motherfucker, especially when the Super Bowl is in your hometown. You didn't get the gig. You didn't get invited to join in and all that shit like that. And I thought that Kendrick had said something else publicly about Lil Wayne's disappointment in not getting on the Super Bowl.
Well, the crazy thing is, I think if Lil Wayne wouldn't have responded the way he did, I think Kendrick would have made sure he got to be on that stage with him.
Yeah.
I think Kendrick would have for sure had him join him on the stage if he hadn't responded the way he did.
And honestly, the way marketing goes, it still probably ain't out the question.
Yeah,
no, it's not. It's not. It's not happening. I can't see that.
But like I said, the problem with some of this shit is it's up to interpretation. You know what I'm saying? Like what I just said about Snoop is my interpretation of it. But there's some factual shit in there with that, how long he's been in the industry and shit like that. He's on fucking not Dancing with the Stars, but what is it, The Voice and shit like that. Martha Stewart connections and shit. So he's from a different space as far as what a clapback could be. Like when that nigga was still from 21st Street, Long Beach, there probably would have been a different reaction than now.
Right. But you also have to look at Kendrick's history and how much he heralds the legends, B, how much he just looked up to Wayne. Like he's not gonna diss Lil Wayne. That's not a diss, and
it's up to interpretation. Like I said, that's why I said that, because I could be wrong as motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, wrong as shit on that. But when I first heard it, you know, with no other context, then it was clear that he was talking about Lil Wayne, and you know, it could be interpreted that way if you ain't paying attention.
or it could be interpreted that way if you're trying to manifest something.
No, I mean in the context of what's happening, Rob. Not just like, ooh, that nigga said Lil Wayne. I mean,
No, because that's how that. No, but that's how people.
And considering
But
all
V-Ray,
the way the stage is set for
that is how people are acting towards this. It's like, oh, he said such and such. Oh, he's trying such and such. Oh, you need to respond. That's how people are reacting.
I don't think he needs to respond. I'm just saying that I thought
no, I'm not saying that he has to respond. I'm just saying this is how people are reacting, where they're trying to put this narrative that it's a beef. There needs to be some type of response. Wayne, you got to say something on wax. Like,
yeah, see, and I read that he had already gone went in and recorded something. So, I mean, again, that's up to interpretation too, because it's on the internet. So, is it true? Or is it, you know what I'm saying, just some shit to kind of foster that what people are hoping to generate and benefit from themselves and shit. So I don't know. But I did hear that.
Well, all I can say is that after hearing how you say mustard, you like ketchup.
What? Okay, you got to go back to the drawing board on that analogy, bro, because I'm like, I don't like mustard. Is that the underlying concept? Come on, Kendrick, don't throw hints, throw bombs. I don't know, but I mean, I don't like Mustard's tracks so much. I won't say that, but like if it would have been a one and done, I would probably like been like, dude brought some heat. It was an accidental hit because like Kendrick, he said he sends Kendrick the beats all the time, and Kendrick never responded and shit like that. Then they got on one and it blew the fuck up and shit. Okay, Mustard, score one for Mustard, but like now all things Mustard is like, no, nigga, that's not
man,
the outcome that I personally want to hear.
Mustard's price tag just went up.
I know, but then all the mustard imitators are don't think that motherfuckers ain't out there sampling his subs and shit like that, tuning them and like making all these mustard-esque beats. I bet you look on YouTube right now and put in the phrase mustard type beat. You get like the
I think it's been that though. Honestly, it's been there for a long time. Like you forget, he had records since I'm Different. He been making hit records. He had hit records on Rihanna. He had hit records on Khaled. Like it's
the
not
sound's
like
cutting out. What since
I said
sound's cutting out, bro.
Can you hear me now?
You said he's had hit records since when?
Since I'm Different with 2 Chainz. Since the records he did. Yeah. Can you hear me, Rob? Yeah. So
okay.
So he had hit records since I'm Different with 2 Chainz. Hit records with Rihanna. He's had hit records since like at least 2011. So his price has been high for a mighty long time.
But you know it went up like a motherfucker after.
I'm sure it probably went up again.
Like not like us might be song of the year.
Yeah.
Now, damn, I want to circle back to what you were saying about Drake. So the fact with this lawsuit and everything, how much damage do you think?
I think it might be irreparable.
No, how much damage do you think it has done to him as an artist now, where people are like looking at him like, oh, so you've been using bots these past 10, 15 years to get such and such?
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what I was going to say. I said the fact that that's the first thing he went to shows me he either knows that's what they've done for him. And you know what I mean? Because like, why is that the first thing you go to? You kind of told on yourself.
Right.
And not just for him. It's like that's an industry thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that I thought of when he first started saying how, you know, there's payola of some sort involved and shit. Is like, motherfucker, since the 50s, like that ain't nothing new. The technology is different. But that's been done for his records, for fucking every record that's ever been done that got some heat to it. Beyonce, any fucking major star has had some kind of push like that. Not our record through Sony. Them bastards didn't promote our shit, but just in general, the type of undercover money that slid to motherfuckers and shit. That's why he knows or can possibly name names and look at fucking like subpoena the reports of the payouts and the records of who did what and shit like that, because it's not a trend. It's been the norm forever.
It's just like
so that's what really made it look like some bitch shit to me.
Yeah, yeah. So as I say, I don't know, because now other artists gonna be looking at you sideways,
right?
Like other artists looking at you sideways. Now the audience at large is looking at you sideways, because it's like this is the first time ever in the battle somebody went to litigation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like a rap battle, somebody went to I'm calling my lawyer. And it's funny because there's a scene from Straight Outta Compton where it's like, this is Drake after Kendrick record came out. And remember when Jerry Heller was like, I'm calling the Jewish Defamation League, I'm calling the JDL. So I was like, that's what this feels like. And remember Rand was like, no, we can't call.
I want to see the manager.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, man. I think it was a very, very bad look for Drake, and I don't know who on his team. Somebody on the team should have been like, no, hell no. But I don't know. I feel like this also proves Kendrick's point of him not understanding the culture. Kendrick's point about him utilizing his whiteness when it benefits him. I feel like it shows examples of all of those things that everybody was like, oh, you questioning his blackness? Like, no, I'm questioning his blackness in regards to the culture. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of mixed people in the culture, but there's mixed people who are culture vultures. There's a difference. Shannon said, do you think UMG will settle or what? I don't know, because sometimes you get corporations this big that just decide they want to be assholes. So it depends on what page they're on. It depends on if they're just like, we'll just be assholes because we got the money to outlast you in court, or let's try to keep this quiet. Because the other thing, he's in the middle of renegotiating his contract with UMG. So how is that even supposed to work?
Well, here's the thing, though. Even with that contract renegotiation and the music that he has been dropping, nothing is hitting. The only thing that has value now is the catalog, his early catalog. That's the only thing that has value.
Well, and he'll make himself a scourge if he has to look for a contract outside of the UMG contract, which ain't easy to do since they're gobbling up every company and shit. But now you got that whistleblower status hanging over your head and shit. So what value are you to another label unless you just go indie and drop your own shit?
Yeah, and especially at the label now, like you said, most of his money is made on the back end of the stuff that came out early. They still gonna have that. They still gonna have that. So they could be like, we can make plenty of money off of this. We probably will make more money off of this and whatever you do going forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got less ahead of you career wise than you do behind you. So,
and he's done already so much damage to himself, where it's like, I don't think he realizes.
Yeah, we got to keep an
eye.
We'll keep an eye on those negotiations and where it goes, what it look like. But I think I don't know what he thought he would get out of it, even if he won and it proved something. You know what I mean? Like, there's no good end game to going this route, in my opinion.
Well,
that's
here's
just a butt hurt response, bro.
Yeah.
The ego damage.
Right. And here's like looking at his confidence and bravado now differently. I assume now that when Kendrick dropped like that, and he dropped Tailor Made, and then Family Matters or whatnot, and how he was feeling, his boastness, I felt that again he was looking at, Kendrick is not going to respond. I'm going to be this is another W in my pocket. I'm going into this negotiation. I could do whoop, whoop, whoop. Like, he was acting super confident with everything, and like nothing could phase him. And then all of a sudden, it's like the rug got pulled out from under him, and it's like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
And it's just been one misstep after another, and I'm enjoying it.
Literally a bunch of missteps.
Too big for your britches was a person.
Yeah. Like, ever since Kendrick came back, it's been all missteps, because I don't think he was ready for what he thought he was. I don't think he was ready for that fire, and it continued. And to do it right when Kendrick's album is out, you give more pub to Kendrick's album. You know what I mean? Like, you help him with his marketing. Like, it's crazy, but yeah, man. So Thank y'all for hopping on for a quick holiday version. And before we get out of here, one more time, Grayson's View. Thanks, Rob, for your contribution.
Mother Africa.
To sending these drums. We're trying to send these drums to Africa. Grayson's View. This is where you can send your donation to try to send drums to the kids in Africa. Grayson's View. All right. If you want to send money, Grayson's View on Cash App and what was it? Venmo? Cash App and Venmo.
Oh, wait, before we close out, what was your favorite song on the album?
On
GNX.
GNX? I mean, it's funny because I thought I had a favorite, and then I listened to the album again. I'm like, oh no, that's not my favorite no more.
You still there, Rob? Oh, there it goes.
I think it has to be
for a minute. Did you answer that? Okay.
He said what?
No, he asked you if you answered.
Oh, not yet. I think it might have to be Hard Part 6, man. I think it might have to be Hard Part 6. TV off right after that. Hard Part 6 and TV off. Well, my trying to spin it like Drake is doing this to disrupt the industry, which will benefit. No.
Man,
but Kanye said this is about industry. No. No, this is about, like V-Ray said, him being butthurt. What's your favorite joint, V-Ray?
I think I'd say Whacked Out Murals. I really like
Whacked Out Murals is super dope.
Mine's in the Hard Part 6 because I finally got the answer and the reason as to why there was not a Black Hippie album.
What's the answer?
Hard Part 6. Kendrick said it was all him. He was the reason why. He was the reason why there wasn't a Black Hippie album.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I loved his honesty and I loved his accountability for it.
Yeah.
I was mad. I was like, fuck. But then I got it. Like, you know, he wanted to do other things. His vision. He wanted to do other things. And like normally it's like as an artist, you have that small window where you can do certain things. When the world has been exposed to you and you see the grander things, you tend to think grander. And I think that's what happened. So I get it. And I'm no longer upset. And I can listen to J-Rock's album and his mixtapes. And
yeah, it was good hearing the story the way he told it over that track. It's a good record.
Yeah.
It's a good record. What's your favorite V-Ray? Did you say yours yet?
Yeah, Whacked Out Murals I like.
Oh yeah, you said
like
Whacked Out Murals.
The features too, with that the production on those, but Whacked Out Murals hit me immediately.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, one more time, Grayson's View, Cash App, Venmo. If y'all want to contribute, any amount will help, man. We trying to get closer and closer to this $600 fee to send the drums over to the kids in Africa. They really need it. Thank you for everybody who watched the show, everybody who's been rocking with us. Oh, before we get out of here, can I play something for y'all real quick?
Yep.
Can I play something for the people real quick?
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right. Since the holidays officially start tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? Wild Bunch has decided to drop
Pajama.
You know what I'm saying? Wild Bunch has decided to drop a joint.
Produced by DJ Mustard.
Let us know what you think before we get out of here. This is Wild Bunch matching pajamas.
Hey y'all, let's get in here.
Here, let everybody know the record is out.
Yeah. Halloween, sweet 16, but my dream doll is in between. Now let's have a holly jolly, the Uchi Wally Wally. And yeah, I'm thinking probably you'll be my dolly dolly. So skip the birthday suit, let's get the present wrap. And with the play-by-play, we'll cue the nightcap. So what you think, baby? Yo, do we got a deal? I'll call a sleigh ride, then me and you can chill.
Gather around some mistletoe, just as close as we kisses, we all know
need you. But what can I do? My baby ain't here. Checking my list back, checked it twice. Just how I like it, she naughty and nice. What can I do? She's so far away. Hitching the ride, don't say they
So
say.
how we gon' do this? How can we maneuver? This growing infatuation got me here like a Buddhist. I didn't expect us to be here. Yeah, yo, you knew this. Decisions to be made, so baby, are we gonna do this? Flapper, Jammer, Spider-Man, or maybe Venom. And later for dinner, patch your fist, maybe some denim. Purchase for the chitlins, even yours, just let me get them. Surprises in my bag, so let me bag you after dinner. Ha!
Waiting for St. Nick to slide. Christmas Eve will be my ride. I'll do all I have to do to make my way home.
Rain, sleet, the snow ain't gonna stop me. We gotta match up these pajamas, girl, you got me. Feeling like a kid again, you might be the reason I wanna put presents under your tree.
Waiting for St. Nick to slide. Christmas Eve will be my ride. I'll do all I have to do to make my way home.
Rain, sleet, the snow ain't gonna stop me. We gotta match up these pajamas, girl, you got me. Feeling like a kid again, you might be the reason I wanna put presents under your tree.
To slide, Christmas Eve will be my ride. I'll do all I have to do to make my way home.
Rain, sleet, the snow ain't gonna stop me. We gotta match
Wild
up
Bunch, Classic Pajamas. Go buy it wherever you buy music and then stream it. 20.99. Buy the single and then stream it. Wild Bunch, Classic Pajamas. Thank y'all for joining us. We'll see y'all next week. Be sure some shenanigans will have happened by next week. Again, we thank y'all, appreciate y'all support. We'll see y'all next time.
Feeling like a kid again, you might be the reason I wanna put presents under your tree.
Stop the world, let me off. I don't like this destination. I like a transfer to the express line. I gotta get off. Electric slide to the devil doors of life. Things are changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gas up the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when it is time. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. 1 star, would not recommend